So this is a 1-inch flat brush, and I'm about to glaze with bright aqua green. That's the name of that color. And a glaze means I thin it quite a bit down with water so that it's translucent. But you don't want it too watery that's drippy. So it's kind of almost on the edge of being drippy, but not too thin down with water. And I'm doing this because when you for that part of the water where you mix cerulean blue with white there, it kind of picks up colors that are already in the sky. So by adding this glaze of bright aqua green, you're differentiating that from the colors that might be in the sky, and making it a little bit more aqua green than any kind of color that you would see already in the sky. But if you do not have that color, you can skip it. It's not crucial, because the blue that you're going to get already by mixing cerulean blue with white right there, it will still be good. And that's a blending technique right there so the cobalt blue water is already dry, and now by adding that glaze over top is a method of mixing. So that's white chalk, and if your kids have sidewalk chalk, go ahead and use that, because that is what that is. It's a big piece of white sidewalk chalk. So I'm about to draw in the palm tree. And right there, the line that I made, I wanted to change that. So with a damp paper towel, that's the great thing about drawing with the chalk, is with a damp paper towel you can just wipe it off. And trees are always thinner at the top and get wider at the bottom. So if you can remember that, your tree is gonna be much more realistic. And now just right there, drawing in chalk where the flower bush is going to go. And now I'm mixing yellow ochre with the brown, and I don't know the name of the brown. You could look at my materials list below, but mixing the yellow ochre with the brown, trying to get a more brownish color there. I tested it out there, and I saw, no, that's too yellow ochre-ish. So back on my palette, I'm mixing it with some more brown, a touch more brown. So I'm happy with that color. It's more on the brown side than the yellow ochre side. And that's a 1-inch flat brush. Now that's about a 1/2-inch flat brush. It could be a little bit smaller, because that could be 3. I think that, I'm not sure if that's a little bit less than a 1/4 inch there. Around a 1/4 inch flat brush is good. And while this tree trunk is still wet, I'm using the straight brown, and I paint in a straight line, and then I drag it down. I drag it down so it's a little bit streaky. So straight line across, then drag it down. You'll see when my hand gets out of the way. So I don't drag it down all the way into the next line. I'm keeping a little bit of space between them, so you get to see the texture of the palm tree bark. Next I'm using the same flat brush, and I've washed it out, and I'm just using that straight brown and making a line on the edge of, drawing a line like that on the edge of the tree trunk to create a shadow there. And now I'm mixing a light color for the highlight on the other side of the tree trunk. The yellow ochre and white and a touch of brown. And I end up making this too light, but later on, after I've let it dry, I put a glaze of a brown over top, and that tones it down. But that's later on in the painting. You'll see I come back to this. But still, right now I'm going to finish up this very light highlight. I'm using the flat brush, and as you can see, I feathered it out, blended it out. So now that's Phthalo Green, and I'm drawing the fronds of the palm tree leaves. Not sure the word for that. Just drawing out with Phthalo Green and a flat brush. You can use a pointy detail brush. I use a flat brush there for making thin lines, just by the way I'm holding it, and just drawing out where the palm tree leaves are going to go. Later on I see that they're too evenly spaced, so I add in a few extra palm leaves to make it less symmetrical. And now again with it's about a half inch, quarter inch. You could do it with either one. Flat brush. I'm just using straight Phthalo Green. that one was kind of like, I was trying to make it look like the side of the palm tree leaf. So I was drawing a line over across, and I was just to give the effect that there was more palm, that there was more lines on the other side, but later on I changed that. So one tip is that the palm tree tiny leaves are not like 90 degrees. They're on an angle, and they point towards the end. They point towards the pointy end that's pointing out. And that phthalo green was quite translucent. So then I mixed, not black, I mixed that dark brown with the green, and that's making it more opaque there. Plus we needed that extra value anyway. We're having our dark, medium, and light values here. So I'm painting over the palm tree leaves, but I'm not totally covering the phthalo green that I put below. You're still going to see it peeking through. And there, that's when I change that palm tree leaf and make it so we can see the leaves on both sides of it. So here I have a paper towel, and I'm going to dampen it with my spray bottle, just dampen it a little bit, because I almost finished the tree trunk. I have to glaze over the top, but I'm wiping away the white chalk line with the damp paper towel, as I had told you before. And now that's about it could be a quarter or a half inch. Oh no, a 1/4 inch brush is probably better. 1/4 inch flat brush, and I'm making a glaze of the dark brown. And I'm going to paint over that highlight, because that highlight was a little bit too strong. So this glaze is going to tone it down. And I do that the whole length of the trunk, but just to save time, I'm not showing that. So that's a 1 inch round brush, and I'm going to I use straight phthalo green to block in just the basic color of the bush. Then I'm going to go, then I use, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, the recording box covers part of my image. So I believe I'm still, yeah, I can't see it because I don't know why they put the recording box there. So, yeah, so I just finished filling in the bush with just straight phthalo green. Next, I'm going to be using a fan brush, like medium-sized fan brush, with yellow green, mixing, well, I have it's in the materials list below, it's a yellowish green that I have, and mixing that with the phthalo green to create, well, first I dry it before I do any more of the foliage. Yeah, so medium size, you can use small or medium size fan brush, and I'm mixing, I think I'm using that straight yellow green that comes right out of the bottle, and that color is listed below. And tapping it in different directions. And I'm making some spiky foliage sticking out on the sides and going to be sticking out from the top also. If you do not have this particular color of yellow-green, you can always use phthalo green or any dark green that you have and mix some yellow with it, and you're going to just make your own yellow-green. Now I've washed out, I might not even have washed out the brush. I think I might still have, and I go straight in with, well, no, is it the phthalo green? I mix phthalo green. I want a dark value, so I think I want phthalo. I mixed dark brown a little bit with the phthalo green to get just a little bit darker value. And now I've mixed some white with the yellow green to add even a fourth value to this, the very lightest highlight, and so use that sparingly, kind of just like on the tips, here and there on the tips of the foliage that's sticking out. And a little bit, you know, tapping it here and there a little bit on the bush too, on the inside of the bush. I think I'm going back in. It's up to you. I think I'm using that dark green again, which was the dark brown mixed with some green. I mean, the phthalo green mixed with a little bit of dark brown. And now this is going to be dried before adding the flowers. It needs to be dry. And I decided to make the flowers that's Prism Violet, and I decided to make the flowers just like dark violet, medium violet, light violet. It's up to you if you want to make it like all different color flowers, but I don't want the attention taken away from the ocean, and so I just thought, and I thought a cool color, it wouldn't jump out too much, but it's up to your own liking. And that one right there, I'm going to wipe away. So when acrylic paint is still wet, you can wipe it away with a damp paper towel. So I'm gonna be using an angle brush right now, like my 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch angle brush. And you might want to practice first on a piece of paper, but there's different ways with the angle brush you can do flower petals, but I'm not really too concerned about the details of these flowers. Sometimes so I'm just kind of like going around in a circle, adding the petals that are going around. Some of the petals, you know, and make a variety, like small flowers, big flowers. I'm going to be painting very light purple flowers, medium purple flowers, dark. That's my angle brush, and actually I didn't even mix it. I was trying out to see how it would be if I used the violet and then dipped it in a little bit of white. But it worked better if I mix it on the plate. For painting these small flowers, it just worked better if I mix the colors on the palette plate first. Yeah, so you might definitely want to practice first on paper the kind of flowers that you want to paint. Some of my flowers, like the tiny flowers, are just practically star shape, just cross and then an X over top. And this is the last step for the whole painting. So now I'm panning from top to bottom. Just a video of the finished painting. Oh, later on I do add that third wave that comes out onto the beach, because I think that beach looks too empty, so I add the third wave coming out onto the beach. But it's not, I add that later. Not showing there. So I hope you enjoyed this, following along. This is a great painting for beginners. I hope you did well, and please share on my Facebook link, which is down below. That's what it looks like with the third wave coming on the beach. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and definitely subscribe so you can know about future tutorials.